Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Canadians Football Podcast. I'm your host, Matty P.
And I'm your co-host, C-Money, Chris Miller.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, me too.
Today we will be statting out the Minnesota offensive players
For the upcoming season, 2022 fantasy football season.
So there's that, our favorite team there, the Minnesota Vikings, just down under.
Not Australia.
Not Australia, a little closer.
All right, so how about some news nuggets?
Let's get to the news. Julio Jones signs 1 year, $8 million deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, another weapon for Tom Brady, lowering everyone else's fantasy value by just a smidge.
Yeah, he's been circulating on the waiver wires in many dynasty leagues. He was linked to Green Bay at one point, but now he is a Buck along with newly assigned Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, I think that pretty much kills my bold prediction from last week of Kyle Rudolph getting 10 touchdowns this upcoming season, but that's okay.
And for our second piece of news, just in today, DK Metcalf has signed a 3-year, multi-million-dollar deal with the Seahawks.
Yeah, definitely smart on his part. You don't want to be going into a contract year with below average quarterback play when you're a wide receiver. He's probably looking at it saying, I'm probably not going to match some of my past season totals, so I don't want to go in with zero leverage into a contract situation. So he holds out a little bit, still there at camp, but manages to get a nice little chunk of change.
As far as fantasy relevance, it will probably keep him hungry. 3 years is not a big contract, and so if he excels at what he does, or if they get a awesome quarterback very soon, he can cash in again.
Like maybe Jimmy Garoppolo?
Man, signs are kind of pointing to that, right?
Yeah. With the last bit of news we got, Kyle Shanahan basically admitting that they are turning the team over to Lance and that they're going to be shopping Garoppolo, totally losing any kind of leverage they may have had out in the open, just putting it out there. But I have a theory on this. Everyone knew that they were shopping him anyway, so that's not really a surprise. They've probably had conversations with virtually every team. But my theory is that they are going to trade him to Seattle, but because it's within the division and that's so rare and it's it's something that you probably shouldn't do, they're going to hold on to him until basically the last minute, so he doesn't have much time to learn the playbook going into the season. That's my theory.
That is hilarious. They don't want to carry a $26 million
backup quarterback
into the season. So I could see them trying it. They're obviously trying to trade him. Obviously, why, as a GM, why would you not try, right? But they could end up just cutting him right before the season starts.
Right. Yeah, I don't see that. I think, they're under the cap now already. So, worst case scenario, I think you just go, right? But I think they would rather get the return and then, move forward with Trey Lance so that there's not this undercurrent of controversy kind of flowing throughout the year. Because that just the media is horrible like that. They just attack and pick at any kind of scab or wound, especially national media. They just love the drama.
But I love this piece of news. It's nice to hear from Shanahan's mouth that he's giving the reins to Trey Lance. It's a boost of confidence to Trey Lance from his coach and to all his teammates that this is our guy now. And I am very selfish with this news because Trey Lance is my QB3 in a 1 QB start dynasty behind Rodgers and Russell Wilson in a league. So you could say I'm sitting nice at QB in that league.
Yeah, only 1 QB. That's pretty good. Yep.
So yeah, we will move along from the news, and we will talk about these Minnesota Viking offensive player 2022 stats.
Yeah, all right. Let's do some bold predicting for the entire offense.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Doesn't matter. Whatever. I can start if you like. We'll do player by player. So we'll start with Kirk, I guess, quarterback. So this upcoming season, I am predicting that Kirk Cousins is going to have 607 attempts. His previous high, he's had in 2 seasons, he's had 606 attempts, 2 separate seasons. So I'm going to put him at 1 more. I don't think they're going to actually pass as much as everybody thinks. I think it's going to be a balanced attack, but I do think it'll be more than he's ever had. So there we go, 607 attempts. His completions, the most he's ever had is 425 in a season. So I'm going to put him at 420 completions for a completion percentage of 69. His career high previously is 70%. So, I mean, that's right in line with basically how he's done the last few years. My yardage total, I'm going to put him at career high, 5,108 yards. His previous career high was 4,917, so 200 more yards than before. That was with Washington. And then his previous career high for touchdowns was 35, and I'm going to say he's going to get 42 this year. The best year he's ever had for interceptions was 7, which was last season. I think he's going to be a little more risk averse because he doesn't have Zimmer looking over his shoulder. And so I think he's going to end up with 10, but he's playing more loose and letting it fly downfield a little bit more. So I like that trade-off.
Okay. I have Kirk starting 17 games. Last year he started 16 games.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'll say 17 as well. The only reason he missed was because of COVID.
That is right. I have him this year throwing the ball 563 times, 390 completions. I have him throwing 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions for 4,464 yards. So basically 240 more yards this year compared to last year.
Nice. That's I really blew up the yards, but I think they're going to have a pretty strong offense this season.
Yes, with that new head coach and no more Coach Zimmer hating on Kirk.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be I think there's good energy there. They're in a positive environment. I do think having 9 home games and 8 quote unquote on the road, but one of those being a neutral site game. So yeah, the neutral site game in Birmingham in the United Kingdom, I think that's going to help. You know, the home versus away thing is a big deal. So that's where I'm at.
That's a good point about the home away splits. I didn't realize that Minnie was playing 9 true games at home.
Yeah, it's a nice advantage for this season's scheduling. So
they have 9 at home,
7 on the road.
7 on the road, and that 1 neutral.
Yeah.
I like that. And if you guys have been following the last couple episodes, I have a bold prediction that Minnesota Vikings will win this division. So that I think those 9 true home games will do wonders.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the wide receivers. You want to start, or do you want me to go?
You can go if you want.
All right.
With JJ.
Okay, yeah, I'll start with JJ. I got JJ bumping up to 128 receptions on the season. Big number, I know. 1,818 yards and 12 touchdowns. Oh yeah, if you guys notice, I have a common thread running through this. Through all my predictions, the yard totals for each player, there's a common thread. So if you notice, leave it in the comments.
So for JJ, I have 120 receptions on 165 targets, 1,580 yards, and 9 TDs.
Okay, yeah, I could totally see that. I just went a little bit higher for fun, but yeah.
Yeah, I went a little higher with the receptions and kept the yardage maybe just a little under last year's total. Although he has big aspirations to break some records.
Yeah. A lot of talk about him in the quote unquote Cooper Cup role. I don't know that the offenses are necessarily going to be that similar, but I do think he's in for a big year. So next we'll move on to Adam Thielen, number one in your heart. Everyone loves Mr. Adam Thielen and his story. Great story. So this year, I'm going to say he misses 3 games due to some minor injuries of some kind over the course of the season. He's tough, but he's getting a little older and he's starting to wear down, so he hasn't played a full slate of games in 3 seasons. He's missed a few the last couple seasons. So with that said, I'm going to say he ends up with 69 receptions for 1,019 yards and 12 touchdowns, same as JJ for touchdowns.
I too have Thielen missing 2 games. He is in his early 30s now, and he's a hard worker, and he always finishes the play. So along with that comes bruises and wear and tear. But I have him getting 65 receptions on 92 targets for 700 yards and pretty nice 9 touchdowns.
Okay, so we both have the same touchdown totals for the 2 receivers. That's funny, but I just have them at 12 each and you have them at 9 each. All right, so moving on to the running back position, let's go Dalvin.
Oh, hey, we still got KJ.
Oh, I didn't do KJ.
You didn't do KJ. Okay, I will add in my prediction here about KJ Osborne. I have him going off for 73 receptions on 90 targets for 832 yards and 7 touchdowns. He did get 7 touchdowns last year.
Okay.
But I'm basically giving him 23 more receptions, some more targets, and almost 200 more yards. So a step up as Thielen maybe takes
a
more wide receiver 3 role.
I like that. That's a decent little line for him. It's a little higher than I would have predicted, but after you laid out that he did so well this past year, it makes a lot of sense. So actually, that's a pretty good point. I like it. I'll move on to Dalvin then. So he hasn't actually played a full slate of games in his entire career. I was just looking at the numbers. So I'm not going to predict that he's going to go and do that this upcoming season, but he is tough as nails. He does play through injuries, which maybe could be to a detriment. I feel like there was 1 or 2 games in the past couple seasons where he probably shouldn't have played, but he did. But anyway, I'm going to say he plays 15 games this upcoming season, which would be a career high for him. 330 attempts, 1,604 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns, 50 receptions for 604 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. So big year for Dalvin.
Yeah, this is a big year for Dalvin, and as a Vikings fan, I love watching him play. Very looking forward to his brother playing as well and seeing if those traits run in the family. It does look like those running back traits do. I have Dalvin missing a couple games. I have him going for 243 rushes for 1,153 rushing yards. I have 37 receptions on 46 targets for 450 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, and 3 reception touchdowns for Dalvin Cook. Basically a beast-like role.
Yep. Definitely. If he puts up either one of those totals, he's going to be a great asset in fantasy football this year. So, tight end, or did you do Madison?
We can do Madison.
Oh, I didn't do Madison.
Okay, I'll for Madison, I have 125 rushes. He had 134 last year, but I'm going to give him a few more yards. 125 rushes for 500 yards. 30 receptions. He had 32 last year. 30 receptions this year for 302 yards. And for touchdowns, I gave him 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 reception touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little hard to predict because he's more of the backup guy. Like, depends on how many games Dalvin misses. That's going to really affect his totals. But, we both think that Dalvin will miss a couple games, so that's a decent line for him. I'm going to say let's go to the tight ends then. I mean, there's really only one tight end, Irv Smith. I think Irv is in for a huge season. I don't think I've looked at previous seasons for comparisons and to try and use those as kind of a springboard or a launch pad for my predictions for all the other guys. But Irv's don't really add up. Like, he hasn't played the role that he's going to have this year. Last year would have been a great year to see how he really ends up looking, but he got hurt. So we'll do it again this year. So I think he's going to have 65 receptions on the season. Big number. 784 yards and 8 touchdowns. So I'm predicting he's going to have a really big season.
Yes, I could see Irv Smith having a breakout season. It's his time. We've been saying it for a few seasons now, right? I have him 60 receptions on 81 targets for 598 yards and 4 touchdowns.
So yeah, did he catch my thread?
I did not.
Okay, I'll just give it to you. All the yardage totals for each guy, their final 2 digits in their yardage totals is their number.
Oh, did anybody catch that out there?
Kirk Cousins, 5,108 yards. Justin Jefferson, 1,818 yards. Adam Thielen, 1,019 yards. Dalvin Cook, 1,604 yards. And Irv Smith, 784 yards. I'm so cool, I know.
He's not your average Minnesota Vikings fan. And now for the segment you've all been waiting for.
Bold predictions. Bold.
Sports prediction.
Yeah.
So with my episode 5 bold sports prediction, today we are going to the well of football. And as much as I like to predict this, I also don't like it because it conflicts a little bit with my Minnesota Vikings winning the division bet. My bold sports prediction for episode 5 is Odell Beckham Jr. will sign with the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I think this division race is going to be tight between Minnesota and Green Bay. And there were talks last year of Beckham going to Green Bay.
That's right.
And when Coach and Green Bay GM, they see how tight this division is, and without a true number one wide receiver, yes, you got Sammy Watkins, yes, you got Randall Cobb. They don't have that fast receiver that, you got good hands, you got just that extra. I think it would help Green Bay probably win some games down the stretch, which are very valuable to Green Bay winning that division again.
Yeah, it just really all comes down to whether he's healthy or not. He tore his ACL in the Super Bowl, so the recovery time, although all these guys this year are making it seem like a recovery time on an ACL is only like 9 months or something, but we'll see. We'll see how soon he gets back to the NFL. But I could see that happening. That's a nice little prediction. Mine's going to be kind of in a similar vein. I'm going to go to the 49ers backfield. The hair pulling, always tricky to figure out backfield. I think they're going to start with Elijah Mitchell on the season. I think that's a given pretty much. And I think he's going to do well, but I do think he's going to end up getting injured. And I do think Jeff Wilson is going to come in and kind of take that number 2 role, or turn his number 2 role into the number 1. But by the end of the season, I think it is going to be Tyrion Davis-Price that is going to take over full-time as the number 1 by the end of the season. I don't think it's going to be early, and I do think Jeff Wilson gets the first crack at taking over. But I think by the end of the year, Davis Price is going to be the man.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that backfield recently, and
There's still Trey Sermon as well. There's still Trey Sermon as well.
Yeah, and Shanahan always uses the committee running back approach. If you go back into the history of him running a team,
And his dad, too.
they go way back.
Yeah, Denver Broncos, didn't matter which running back was in there, they always produced.
That's why I'm a little iffy on keeping Elijah Mitchell in one of my leagues. He had a great first season last year. He was probably the number one waiver wire pickup of the season.
Yeah, I think so. Well, one of them.
And we don't know if he's going to be durable this season. We don't know how Shanahan's going to deploy. Also, the new quarterback taking over, Trey Lance, has legs as well. So there's a lot of different variables and factors that go into that running game offense, right?
Yeah,
but I like your prediction here. And I know you have shares of Mr. Price, right?
Yeah, I got Price and Jeff Wilson.
So basically, you just want the price to be
Wilson or right.
Da-da-ding. But yeah, that is it for this week, folks. Tune in next week for episode 6 of the Two Canadians Football Podcast. I'm your host, Matty P.
And I'm your co-host, C-Money.
And we are signing out for now. Peace.